Hey guys, it's me, the Afro Hamurai. Welcome to another season to taste, and today we're looking at Valhalla VintageVerb, which I have replaced all of my reverbs in this track with, and I didn't expect to sound as good as it does. Let's have a listen. So let's talk about what we have with Valhalla VintageVerb. We have a mix, we have pre-delay and decay. So if you've used any reverb, you'll kind of know what that is. But after that, we have firstly, a very colorful interface, but also mode and color. Of course, spelled in the US spelling of color. The only reason I know that is because I know sometimes the U shouldn't be there, but that's kind of scary if you're from the UK. Cool. Let's look at color first. So you can choose between three different colors, 1970s, 80s, or now, which I'm guessing is basically 1990s onwards. Now is basically meant to be like clean modulation, bright with no downsampling. 1970s does downsampling, and then 1980s doesn't, but still gives you darkish modulation. So this is really cool if you want something extremely vintage. And then this is good if you want to have vintage sound, but with a modern sort of twist to it, right? There are a few modes as well. You can pick between 2 hall reverbs, a plate, a room, a chamber, and then just a random space. And then it just goes further. It's almost like Valhalla go, okay, so this is what a normal reverb does. Let's just keep going. And then they just keep going. I haven't even tried chaotic neutral. This kind of sounds like what most D&D characters would be, but let's just mess around and see what we get. I'm going to put damping to about there. I'm going to reduce the damping a bit. I'm going to turn the bass multiplier up a bit. This could end badly. I'm going to add in some reverb from the bass. We're going to see what happens. And then we're going to increase the modulation, but the depth up to turn that down. We'll do this. We'll just see. We'll see what happens when I do that. This could sound very wrong or very right. I assume because it has Valhalla on it, it's going to sound very right. Let's see. I thought I'd give a change to the color because it would make it really apparent what it sounds like. And it really does change the sound quite a lot to it. Now, I quite like vintage sounding reverbs because there's a lot of times where I will use sampled synthesizers. I have an actual synthesizer as well. And I just find that vintage stuff always seems to sound pretty good with the stuff that I have and the sort of music that I make. But I kind of have to ask the question, when this exists, does this invalidate all of my other reverbs because it has a plate in it, it has halls, and it has all of these things? The answer is no, actually, it doesn't. And there's a really important reason, and I'm going to need to bring another reverb, another one of my favorites out for you to see, and then you'll understand why. So this is LittlePlate, which is a plate reverb. I think it's meant to be an emulation of the EMT plates. And this costs $99, and Valhalla VintageVerb costs $50. And you would instantly be yeah, VintageVerb must be just better value because you can still get a good sounding plate reverb from it. And that's true. You can get good sounding plate reverb from it. But sometimes I do just kind of like this simplicity. In fact, it's why I like a lot of Soundtoys plugins and why I own all of them, because, I can just throw this on, turn it up, and it just does some stuff. Like, this is great because it does let you have all of these sort of like, customization. And in fact, thinking about it, there are a lot of reverbs that this would replace. In fact, one of them would be Arturia's plate reverb. But even then, those still sound just a little bit different to this. Like, this definitely sounds a lot more like it's got its own sort of like behavior and its own sort of sound and its own sort of character. And that's something that I really enjoy about Valhalla's plugins, like all of them. I already talked about Delay and Supermassive, and this is no exception. This is its own sort of sound, its own sort of reverb, and you can't take that away from it. But then at the same time, like, there's still a need for me to have this because I just drop it on and it works. And also, I'm not about to get rid of LittlePlate because I really enjoy it. And what I do see this replacing is a different reverb I have. So here we have VintageVerb, and here is Exponential Audio's Nimbus, which isn't bad. In fact, it's a really good one. There's a few problems. Firstly, it hasn't received updates for ages, so I'm not even sure if Isotope are going to still support this or whether they're kind of moving towards using NeoVerb. So yeah, VintageVerb is overall a really good reverb. The only reason I would think not to get it is if you're still not tired of Supermassive. But once you get bored of Supermassive, get VintageVerb. Either that or get Valhalla Delay. Or do what I did and get both. Cool.